The champ is here. The champ is here. But we don't just have one champ, we've got two champs. We've got the light heavyweight champion of the world, Jan Błachowicz, defending his title against the middleweight champion of the world, Israel Adesanya. Call me Tupac, because this is the biggie. No, don't call me Tupac. My name is Rahul J. Chan. This is the Battle Camp, and this is my preview of the main event of UFC 259, Jan Błachowicz against Israel Adesanya. Now, look. The narrative, the story going into this fight is Israel Adesanya is here trying to attain greatness. He's trying to become a champ. He's moving up in weight to face Jan Błachowicz, the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. And just as I said undisputed, my brain started disputing it because I'm fully aware Jon Jones exists, right? And I'm not going to sit here and try and give you guys a technical breakdown of this fight because there's plenty of better people out there that do a better job than me. All I want to do is share my opinions going into this fight and just let you guys know why I'm interested in this fight, and I might even give you guys a cheeky little prediction. So why am I interested in this fight? Because of Israel Adesanya moving up in weight. We've never seen Israel Adesanya fight at light heavyweight in the UFC, and I'm not sure whether he's ever done it in MMA. I know he's fought at higher weight classes in kickboxing, but this here MMA, that's a different kettle of fish. That's different. So that is the main reason why I'm interested, to see how he looks at that weight, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm watching this fight on Saturday night with half an eye on a fight, just thinking about a fight between Israel Adesanya and Jon Jones. Like, if Israel Adesanya looks like he looks very comfortable, looks as explosive, looks as good as he does at middleweight, looks like he can deal with a bigger opponent at light heavyweight, that will get me more excited about a fight with Jon Jones. However, having said all of that, I'm not here overlooking Jan Błachowicz, because I've picked against Jan Błachowicz on multiple occasions. Multiple times he's proved me wrong. And I promised myself that I'm not going to pick against Jan Błachowicz anymore, because even though I've just told you guys I'm disputing the fact that he's the undisputed champion of the world, he fully deserves the status of the light heavyweight champion. Like, he did everything that he needed to do to get that title. And when he won that title, he wanted to fight Jon Jones. It wasn't like he just won that title and he was just happy to be champion. Do you know what I mean? He's here as the champion and he's behaving like a champion. Like, he's looking for the toughest fights. And this is what I'd put this fight in that category. Israel Adesanya, like, I don't know if there's anybody else in the light heavyweight division that could have faced off against Jan Błachowicz. And if Jan Błachowicz was to beat said fighter, that Jan Błachowicz would get more credit for beating Israel Adesanya apart from Jon Jones. Does that make sense? So he's looking for the tough fights, and he's got himself a tough fight. Israel Adesanya. I can't remember if I said this earlier on, but if Israel Adesanya was to fight a middleweight version of Jan Błachowicz, 90 times out of 100, you'd see Israel Adesanya beat that middleweight version of Jan Błachowicz. But no, I said 90 times out of 100, because I do believe Jan Błachowicz has the ability and has a skill set to cause the upset. And I haven't looked at the odds for this fight, but I do believe that Jan Błachowicz is the underdog. And that's quite funny, given the fact that Jan Błachowicz is a career light heavyweight and he's a champion. You've got a guy that usually fights 20 pounds lower than him stepping up, who's actually the favourite to win the fight. Now, I don't know whether that's a disrespect on Jan Błachowicz or whether that's just a recognition of just how good Israel Adesanya is. From a technical standpoint, like, one thing that we know is both fighters are very comfortable. Like, their preferred method of fighting is striking, right? They're both most comfortable on the feet. But Jan Błachowicz is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I only found out recently, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know that up until recently. So you'd have to say he's got an advantage there. Having said that, how often have you seen Israel Adesanya taken down? And if he does get taken down, how quickly does he get up? So I don't know how much of this fight is going to play out on the ground. But one thing that I will say is I think we'd all agree that Israel Adesanya has the advantage when it comes to striking, which is why he's the favourite. And also, he's still got, even though he's moving up in weight, he's still got a big advantage in height and reach, which he knows how to use to his advantage. He's the guy that is a master at measuring distance, and his timing is off the freaking hook. So it's just like, skill-wise, it's hard to see how Jan Błachowicz is going to beat Israel Adesanya. But here's another intangible about this fight. One thing that I love about Jan Błachowicz is he's a guy that commits now. Like, he commits to his strikes. Like, one thing that I found in the fight against Dominic Reyes is he was striking offbeat almost. Like, he was striking in intervals of the fight where usually both fighters reset, you know, in those little kind of pockets of time within a fight. But he wasn't using that time to reset. He was using that time to land those dirty kicks to the side of Dominic Reyes, bruised like his side up. And I think this is the most confident version of Jan Błachowicz we've seen. And similar to what I said about Aljamain Sterling in my breakdown for the Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling fight, is both of these guys have something in common in terms of they've lost. They felt how it feels to lose. And I feel both of them have done the required work to learn from those losses, which is why we see them where they are at the moment, which is why they've reached the top of both of their respective divisions. And another thing that I like about Jan Błachowicz, I kind of briefly mentioned it earlier, is the fact that he commits to his strikes. He's not here half-hearted, half in, half out. He's either in and striking, or he's out. And that kind of speaks to his confidence to me. Like, there's no kind of tentativeness in Jan Błachowicz. And Israel Adesanya is a guy that likes to kind of use a lot of feints and try to draw a response out from his opponent. And if Jan Błachowicz is able to continue, I know I'm not saying it very well, but like continue striking the way he did against Dominic Reyes, like offbeat, like strike when his opponent kind of isn't expecting it, kind of when in these kind of in these pockets of time within the fight, then he could cause Israel Adesanya some trouble. Another thing that Błachowicz, obviously physically he's shorter, but I just how thick he is compared to Israel Adesanya, you'd imagine that he's physically just a stronger man. So if he's able to close the distance on Israel Adesanya and he's able to get into grappling exchanges, able to push him up against the fence, Israel Adesanya might start feeling the pressure of Jan Błachowicz, and he might start feeling it and getting fatigued later on in the fight, and Jan Błachowicz might be able to start taking over. But in terms of a prediction, and I hate picking against Błachowicz because I've got the utmost respect for him and he's proved me wrong so often that I'm now a believer. Like, if Jan Błachowicz was fighting any other light heavyweight apart from John Jones, I'd probably be picking Jan Błachowicz out of the current crop of light heavyweights in that division in the UFC. But he's not. He's fighting Israel Adesanya. And Israel Adesanya has just shown different levels of greatness in all of his performances up until this point. And although Jan Błachowicz is elite, I just feel like he's coming up against a great fighter on Saturday night. And because of that, I think Israel Adesanya will find a way to get it done. And I think because here's why I think Israel Adesanya wins this fight, is because Israel Adesanya is a guy that likes to counter-strike. Like, we saw it with his fight against Yoel Romero. Like, he was waiting for Yoel Romero to do something for him to take advantage of. And Yoel Romero did nothing, which is why that was a boring fight. Błachowicz is going to do stuff. Błachowicz is going to strike. Błachowicz is going to try and hit Israel Adesanya. It's a fight at the end of the day. And I don't know, I just feel like Israel Adesanya will find opportunity to hit and hurt Błachowicz and get the win. But another thing that we don't know, and it will be good to see, is if we get to a point where Israel Adesanya is throwing strikes and Błachowicz is walking through him almost, and that power doesn't carry at 205 in that weight class, what then? What then? But yeah, having said all of that, I am still picking Israel Adesanya. What do you guys think? Please comment below. Let me know what you think about what I've just said in all of this video. Let me know what you just think generally. If I haven't touched on something, if I haven't covered something, let me know. Please comment below. Share this with a friend if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like it, all of that good stuff. You can listen to all of this stuff on a podcast platform of your choice. All the links are in the description below. I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.